Friends, welcome back in this series of lectures on chromatography. From previous lecture, we are dealing with methodology of column chromatography. In that case, we have seen selection of column, the mobile phase, stationary phase, column packing, etc. In column packing technique or methodology, there are two methods. One is dry packing, or it is also called as dry filling, and the other is wet packing or wet filling. This we have seen already. In dry packing, the adsorbent is packed in dry condition, and particularly silica, alumina, or the corresponding adsorbent is added directly to the column, and solvent is allowed to trickle through in portions under pressure. In wet packing method, the column is filled with solvent first, then dry silica or alumina or other suitable adsorbent is lightly shaken in, then packed with pressure. There is another technique called as slurry method, in which the solvent is added to the adsorbent and then poured onto the column as a sludgy material, then packed with pressure. So these are the methods of column packing. This wet packing method we have seen again. Now after preparing the column, then you have to apply the sample, or it is also called as loading of the sample application or loading of the sample. This step, which is also termed as introduction of the sample, is carried out carefully. The sample, which is usually a mixture of several components, is dissolved in minimum quantity of the mobile phase or suitable solvent. In other words, saturated solution of the sample to be analyzed or the mixture to be analyzed is prepared in suitable solvent. Then the entire sample solution is introduced into the column at once, and it is allowed to get adsorbed on the top portion of the column. After loading the sample from this zone, individual components can be separated by process of elution. So this figure shows application of sample. The sample solution is loaded, the sample solution is applied, the sample solution is introduced in the chromatographic column. Okay. Then next step is called as development. Once the sample solution is loaded in the column, then more solvent is added. This time the solvent used is chosen by considering its property that it is the solvent for development. So the other end is opened and solvent is allowed to flow down due to gravity, and this makes the solutes, or this makes the components of the mixture get developed or get adsorbed differentially along with the flow of the solvent, and the process is called as development. So the solvent for development can be same as used for sample preparation or can be different. So in a systematic way this development is carried out. Initially carefully loaded sample is further developed by using suitable solvent system. In this way the components of the mixture which are adsorbed in the top portion of the column, gradually they undergo development and get separated into different zones or bands depending upon their adsorption coefficient. And after sufficient development, the column is next processed for the process of elution. So elution is the process whereby we remove one component from other system by using a solvent system. That is this process is called as desorption in this particular case. So as we have seen repeatedly in earlier cases, the solvent system is used in this case for three purposes. One is for sample preparation, other is for development, third is for elution. Sample preparation is preparation of sample solution for loading for separation. Development is the stage where the solvent develops the mixture into different zones, and the third part is elution. Elution is the process where the components are separated into different zones. So for this purpose, the solvent is allowed to drain in downward direction. It dissolves the bands based upon their properties. If the components are collected, if the components are separated and they are colored, then these can be visually identified. After elution, you separate the components from the other end, and if the components are colored, then the zones can be identified and the zones can be separated gradually, carefully by elution process. If the components isolated from the column are colorless, then in that case the small fractions of the eluent are collected sequentially, carefully in labeled tubes, and these are further analyzed by techniques like TLC or other suitable methods. So the separated components can be identified visually if they are colored, can be identified using UV light also, even if they have a certain fluorescent property, and if they are colorless, then these can be identified by using TLC or other methodologies. Okay, so in this way, in the stage of development of column chromatographic column, the initial stage is loading of the sample by using sample solution, development of the column to get separated into different zones. For this purpose we use a solvent for development, and in the third part we use another solvent, or the same solvent can be used for elution purpose, where elution is the process of removing the separated zones. In the development there is selective adsorption, in elution there is a selective desorption. So the components can be separated and these can be identified very easily. So in the entire process there are several factors which affect the column efficiency. To get efficient results, a few things are to be remembered or to be monitored. Number one, the dimension of the column. Column efficiency can be improved by increasing the length to width or diameter ratio of the column. Okay, this can be decided carefully as per the requirement of the experiment. Then the particle size of the adsorbent material, the particle size of column packing or adsorbent material, it has to be considered. Separation can be done by improving or decreasing the particle size or improving the quality of the adsorbent material. So smaller the size, better is the efficiency. Then the adsorbent must be active. It must have efficiency to selectively adsorb the components and selectively desorb the components. So it must be active enough. Then temperature of the column. The speed of the elution increases at higher temperature. Of course this requires some modification, and the increasing temperature can be used for better efficiency. Then column packing. The column has to be packed carefully because it plays an important role in the process of development, in the process of elution also. Okay. Then quality of the solvents. Solvents, as I repeatedly mentioned, solvents are used for three purposes: one for sample preparation, other for development, third for elution. Then their properties, their polarities are considered carefully. Solvents having low viscosities are giving better results. This has been observed. Then let us consider the applications. Whenever we consider column chromatography, it is used for separation of mixtures of components, then for purification process, thirdly isolation of active constituents, estimation of drugs in formulations and related experiments, isolation of active constituents, determination of primary and secondary glycosides in the digitalis leaf. So this is an example. You can use several such methodologies. Then separation of diastereoisomers. So these are the general applications. Then what are the advantages of column chromatography? We'll see. It is used for any type of mixture. Any type of mixture can be separated. Any quantity of mixture can be separated. There is a wide choice available for mobile phase. It can be automated, but there are still certain disadvantages. First disadvantage is it is time consuming. Then more amount of mobile phase is required because we use solvent for three purposes. So more amount is required. Automation, if it is carried out, then the technique becomes more complicated and expensive. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. So after these considering these things, you are supposed to write a note on column chromatography, in particular adsorption column chromatography. So you go through these several steps, the methodology, then you must be able to draw a schematic figure and explain the entire experiment in a short way. So for theory, there will be a note on this particular article, and during your interactions in future in industry, you must be able to explain this technique as you learn it carefully. So with this we'll stop here. Thank you.